Hey friends, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, I am Crystal, and this lady over here is my business partner, Kelly. And this entire series is called Fix Your Procrastination Blogging Edition. And the whole point of this series is helping bloggers understand that procrastination is usually a signal and not a clear character flaw. There's usually a reason that your brain is resisting action. And when you identify the actual root cause of that, the solution becomes so much more practical and so much less shame-based.
Yeah, and so today we want to talk about a form of procrastination that almost every single blogger has experienced at some time or another. This is the procrastination where there's that one task sitting in the background of your mind or on your to-do list that you keep moving from day to day to day, that you keep avoiding over and over and over. You know you need to do it. You think about it constantly. It follows you around mentally, but every time you try to start, your brain suddenly wants to do literally anything else.
So let's start with what this actually looks like, because task avoidance usually has a pattern. Maybe you have old blog posts that you know need updating, but every time you open analytics, you suddenly decide to check email instead. Or maybe you've been meaning to create a product for months, but instead you keep researching and planning and brainstorming and watching videos and tweaking ideas without actually building anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are thinking about starting, who are researching and learning before they ever start blogging. Girl,
Mhm.
just push publish. Or maybe it's email marketing. You know you should send more emails more consistently, but somehow writing that email keeps getting pushed to tomorrow. And over time, the task starts to feel heavier and heavier emotionally because it's never fully leaving your mental space.
And what's interesting is that people often interpret that as laziness. But usually the problem is not laziness at all. Usually the task feels too big, or it feels unclear, or it's too emotional, or it's too connected to perfection for the brain to comfortably engage with it.
So here's the important part. The real issue underneath task avoidance is mental friction. Your brain does not like uncertainty. It does not like emotionally overwhelming work. And it especially does not like projects that feel endless.
Right. So when a task is vague, like fix my blog, or create a product, or update old posts, or build an email funnel, your brain doesn't see a clear starting point. So it sees this giant, overwhelming mountain that it has to climb. Okay.
Yeah. And when the brain cannot clearly visualize the path forward, it's going to delay engagement completely. Not because you're incapable, not because you don't care, but because the task feels mentally expensive. It's too expensive for you to actually process it.
Right. And perfectionism often makes this worse because now the task isn't just big, it also feels emotionally high stakes. But instead of writing an email, your brain turns it into write the perfect email that performs well and that proves that I know what I'm doing and that makes me money and that blah, 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 all those things. And that emotional pressure creates avoidance.
It does. So let's talk about the fix because this is where momentum can really start to return very quickly. And you've heard us talk about negativity breeds negativity and positivity breeds positivity. This is part of that. The fix for this version of procrastination, excuse me, is reducing the task down to the next visible action. Me and Crystal do this all the time, but what do we have to do first? But what do we have to do before that? But is there anything before that? It's not the
Very
entire project, it's not the final outcome. It's just the next concrete step. And we have multiple conversations of, yes, we moved this project forward. We did the next thing and we can move on to something else.
Right. This really is a very important shift because your brain handles small, clear actions very differently than it handles giant, unidentified projects. So, for example, update old blog posts. That's overwhelming. Like, where do I even start with that? But open Google Search Console and choose 3 posts feels much more manageable.
Right? Create a digital product. That's overwhelming. That's huge. But open a Google Doc and write possible project ideas, I keep wanting to say product ideas for 15 minutes, 100% doable.
Right. Fix my email strategy. That, like, what? What does that even look like? But
Right.
instead, draft one subject line or outline one email dramatically lowers your resistance.
And what usually happens is that once the brain sees a clear, manageable entry point, momentum starts building naturally. And it's so true, right? We open up Search Console, we make our list of three, and what happens? We start one and we make some progress on that one because we've created this momentum, this snowball effect, right? We have started the snowball down the hill.
Right. And this works because action becomes less emotionally threatening, right? Your brain is no longer seeing it as I have to finish this giant complicated project. Now it sees I just need to complete this one small step and then I can move on to the next step.
And honestly, this is how a lot of successful bloggers quietly operate behind the scenes. Like I said, this is Crystal and I do this for Learn to Blog all the time. We don't sit down trying to conquer an entire business, an entire launch in one work session. We focus on the next actionable piece. What is that? That next actionable piece might be listing out all the pieces, right? That's it. We've listed out the things that need to happen to make this project move, or the next draft, or the next update, or the next outline, or the next optimization. What is the next thing?
Right. I mean, it's what we're doing in this very moment. We sit down and today we're recording 5, 6 videos, right? That have all been outlined on
Over
the
time.
outline, right? That there was a day where everything was decided what we were going to talk about, a day that was decided of, like, all of those things are broken down. And then we sit down and we batch it all, right? So clarity reduces resistance, and small completed action steps psychologically give you momentum. That's when we say, success brings more success, right?
Right.
So it's that momentum that's happening. It often is what finally breaks that procrastination cycle.
So here's something practical that we want you to try this week. And guys, this is straight out of Six Figure. If you have thought about Six Figure and what it does, what it might do for you or whatever, remember we have reduced the price significantly. And this is something that we walk people through, hand holding them. This task right here. Okay. Think about the one thing that you have been avoiding the longest, the one thing that keeps mentally following you around. Now, instead of asking, how do I finish this? I want you to ask, how do I start it? What is the next action for this task? That's it.
Yep. And if the answer to that still feels overwhelming to you, the step is probably still too big. And you need to keep shrinking it until it feels easy to start. Okay. Not build the course, but maybe write the title. Not redo Pinterest, but maybe create some new templates for Pinterest. Okay.
Yeah, because the goal is not to force yourself into
Yep.
the goal is not to force yourself into massive action overnight. The goal is to lower the emotional resistance enough that movement can begin again. It's not run a 5-minute mile, right? It's do 5 jumping jacks. It's put
Right.
on your shoes.
Right. Right. It's not, I'm a mom of 5. It started, I was a mom of 1,
Usually,
then
there
2,
are circumstances that
then
changes
3.
that.
But I'm saying when people say, how do you manage, like when all the kids are little, how do you manage? Well, all these kids didn't just get here at the same time, right? We slowly built, right?
My niece had one child, married a guy, well, got pregnant, and then married a guy with 2. Like she literally went from a mom of 1 to a mom of 4 pretty much overnight.
Mhm. Yeah,
But yes, normally it doesn't happen like that.
right. So if there's a task that you've been avoiding lately, we really want to hear from you. It's very unlikely that you're lazy. The fact that you want for this to be better proves to
Right.
me that you're not lazy. Your brain simply needs to stop resisting what feels too big. And what that means is making it smaller, right? Because it's too unclear right now. It's too emotional. It's too big. It's too heavy. Make it smaller.
And honestly, the fix is not more pressure. The fix is not berating yourself because you didn't get it done. That's just more pressure. More pressure kicks in your fight or flight. You're not going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? The fix is creating smaller, clearer entry points so that the brain can safely re engage with the work.
Yep, because clarity creates movement, and movement creates momentum. And momentum is usually what happens or what helps the procrastination finally lose its grip on you. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching this series. There are other videos in the series. Go watch them if you haven't watched them yet. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.